It just takes a simple act of kindness to make a world of difference. What will you do? Kind is better. A message brought to you by K2, Live 95.5 and your Northwest Honda dealers.
Thank you so much for watching AM Northwest on this Kind is Better Day. You know, news of violence and shootings can cause major amounts of stress and anxiety for our youth. Our next guest says there are ways to stop the violence, and here to tell us more, please welcome the founder of 5 Radical Minutes, Cheri Lovre. Good to have you with us, Cheri. So tell me, first of all, how you got involved in this.
I really started in the 70s doing grief groups with kids, which grew into school crisis response teams for schools, which then grew into me realizing that we were having these school shootings. And so I realized that with all the books I was writing, I needed to do one on lockdown, evacuation, relocation, and so on. And I finished that book and had never printed it all when I was called to respond to the shooting at Thurston High School, an hour down the road from me. Yeah. I lived in Salem in those days. And that kind of started me on 20 years now of responding. The second one was Columbine, and then several more. And then I spent 2 years in New York City serving the 27 schools that fled Ground Zero after 9/11. Wow. And then the Amish school shooting. And then we took the Amish to Newtown to have those families talk together. So it just grew for me that after, you know, now I'm 20 years into responding to these events. About 8 years ago, I kind of looked at, we're pulling bodies out of the river, let's go up and see why they're going in.
Right. What did you experience? I mean, let's talk about the Thurston school shooting, the very first one. I remember so distinctly. So what did you learn from that school shooting, and what have you learned since? Wow.
One of the things I learned is that it made a huge difference that I had been working with that team for 13 years. So I walked into a room the day of the shooting.
You had been working with him?
I had been training the team with another woman, Neela Campbell, and I had been working with crisis response teams for schools in Oregon since 1985, and that happened in 98. So I had all these years of knowing these people who were responding, because we'd go down and do more and more update trainings. And so I walked into a room with 140 people who had all had training from me. I already knew them. And it's amazing because it's the one mass casualty public school shooting that I know of that did not generate any lawsuits. And I think it's because we were able to mobilize so much help and support for families. 11 months later at Columbine, we were not able to organize the same kind of thing, but they didn't know me. So part of it is, if I already have a base to start with, it makes a huge difference.
What are 5 Radical Minutes?
5 Radical Minutes are 5 minutes. The school program is, it's a prevention program. What I look at is that if we prevent suicide, we prevent most school shootings, because most school shooters are suicidal kids who have nothing to lose by taking out others with them. Most of them plan to die in the process. So the program is meant to bring those kids into the mainstream and connect with another kid every day. So it's 5 minutes from kindergarten through 12th grade every day. All day, you know, every single day, a kid is connected with another student. And so it means that that isolated student meets with one kid today and a different kid tomorrow and a different kid the next day, so that all of the kids begin to learn what they have in common with one another. It builds trust, and then it moves towards kindness, and then it moves towards compassion. We address mental health issues. And so that's the school program. The home program is 3 days a week. And we can take more than 5 minutes. They could take 5 minutes per person if they want at home. And it addresses many of the same issues, and it changes how parents communicate with their kids, because it's a structured process that's not a conversation.
Is it talking to the kid your child one-on-one at home?
So the home program is fabulous. What it does is it requires that the parent only listen to what the child has to say. They don't give advice, they don't interrupt. And when it's their turn to talk, they don't answer what the children said. And the rule is you don't bring it up again for 24 hours. So if I'm a child and I'm a little nervous about telling mom something that I've done or whatever, I can use that time. And our guidance to the parent is, find out before you start this who your mentors will be. And when your child says something that's alarming, you spend that 24 hours reflecting and asking advice of someone that will help you make a better decision and help you not to react.
How do we stop school shootings?
You know, we know a lot about shooters now. There's a lot of research that's out on that. Dr. John Van Driel from Salem, Oregon, is the person who is the national leader on student threat assessment. And so when it comes to the kid is getting close to it, we know how to assess if a kid is really making a threat or actually posing a threat. We know a lot about that. What I want to do is prevent it from ever getting to that point by helping kids feel connected. Probably the greatest thing we can do if we're going to stop them now is to recognize the brain changes that happen for kids with the addiction that screen time brings. And that's changing the prefrontal cortex. We have 40% less empathy in the last 15 years with kids. Kids are able to manifest 40% less empathy for one another compared to 15 years ago.
Wow, it's incredible. For more information on a complete resource center with mental health contacts, all you have to do is head to kindisbetter.org. Thank you very much, Cheri. We'll be right back. You're watching Kind is Better Day on AM Northwest. Stay right there.